Well, let's speak now to Sigurd Neubauer, who's a Gulf and Yemen analyst, joins me now from Washington, D.C. Sigurd, welcome to the programme. What's your sense, given everything that's happening from the airstrike to the news of the report and so forth, what's your sense of where we're at now with the Yemeni conflict?
First of all, I'd like to underscore that it is a welcoming development that the Russian ambassador, as you reported in your segment, has called for UN action on resolving the conflict in Yemen. Unlike other conflicts around the world, the UN Security Council has not been divided on the issue of Yemen, so this is a positive development. The second positive development I'd like to add is that reports that the Saudi and Iranian foreign ministers could improve relations could also be another step towards accelerating the UN peace process for Yemen. As your viewers may recall, there have been two efforts since the Saudi-led coalition launched the war against the Houthi rebels in 2015. The first time was in Geneva, and the second time was in Kuwait. So depending on how these talks between the Iranians and the Saudis go, we could see the resumption of a new UN peace process.
You say that the UN has not been divided on this, but their consensus has done precisely nothing.
Well, yes, it is clear that the humanitarian disaster in Yemen is unacceptable to the international community. Having said that, while there is a consensus on that, there have been different views on how to get the various parties to the Yemen conflict together. As you know, on one hand, you have the Saudi coalition fighting the Houthis, but also on the ground, you have a multitude of internal wars and smaller wars. So the question is, what is the formula? And the formula would probably be that once the UN Security Council comes up with a mechanism, you would have to get the political parties to the negotiations table, and that would probably be through the Omani leadership. We know that the Houthi leadership is based in Muscat. We know representatives for former Yemeni President Ali Abdullah Saleh is present in Muscat. And we also know that some of the other Sunni tribes across Yemen have representation in Muscat. So the question is, where will these talks proceed? Will they proceed in Muscat, or will they proceed in, let's say, Geneva? At the moment, it is unthinkable that any sort of Yemeni talks can proceed in Kuwait because of the GCC crisis. So I think that all considered, it will probably be in Geneva.
Right, so there's a lot of variable factors in this, so not least the GCC crisis that you just mentioned, and also the news of which you alluded to, the news of this thaw in relations between Iran and Saudi.
Yes, and that is a positive development. As you know, there has been efforts recently to improve Iraqi-Saudi relations. So things are moving in the right direction in these two theaters. The question is, will the escalation of the GCC crisis be an irritant or a distraction to broader efforts within the GCC to, on one hand, align the Emiratis, the Saudis, and the Omanis and the international community to help bring about a peace process in Yemen. And we know that the region has become unpredictable given the GCC crisis, and it is very difficult to read how these dynamics could play out and scuttle even a Saudi-Iranian rapprochement.
Sigurd Neubauer, we appreciate your perspective on this. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.